Hello 11A, and I hope that you're all very well. Hopefully by this time I would have received all of your research helpers, and ideally you've completed them appropriately at a level 2, hopefully in a level 3 quality. So we're going to look at putting our research into the essay plan today. So what I need you to get out are the planning your plan document. So the first one that we did, the planning your plan document, also your research helper. The teacher should also have given you out a copy of the plan draft. Okay, so they're just a really simple little document. You should have one printout of that. So please have those things ready before we continue on this. As usual, feel free to press pause if you need a little time to get all of your information together. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do is you're going to review your plan. So you want to have a look at, this is from my example plan, and you can see this is where I put all of the ideas of the things that I wanted to talk about, and then I put the sequence. So number 1 means that I was going to put that maybe into my introduction. Number 2 and 3, I was going to have that as possibly my first paragraph, 4 as my second paragraph, 5 and 6 as my next paragraph, and then number 7, that was going to be my conclusion. So that's the order that I thought it would go in, but this is before I've completed my research. It's very, very common for your research to change the structure or the direction of your essay, and that's absolutely fine. It's part of the process. So from my initial plan, have I found evidence to prove my points? So have a look at the points I've included here and have a look at your research. Can you confirm that you have research to back up and provide evidence of these points? Remember, this is a research essay. It is not an opinion piece. The essay at every point needs to refer back to an academic source to prove and support your point. So check your research helper. Can you tick, tick, tick and say you have enough information for these? Or have you got some new ideas? Or do you have a different direction? When I was in Tangshan, there was a student who started off with animal testing as his essay. He did his initial plan and was saying animal testing is a great thing. I got him to do his research, and by the end of the research, he came up and said, "Teacher, I need to change my entire direction. After the research, I now believe that animal testing is completely wrong." And that's absolutely fine. It just means that we need to change that plan, manipulate it a little bit. So if you've got some new ideas or a new direction for your essay, that's absolutely fine. Should you remove anything or add anything from your original idea? For instance, I might say here, number 7, women should be treated equally and paid equally. Now I've realized that this whole essay is not about equal pay, so I should get rid of that because it's not relevant to my essay and I don't have enough information to support that. So should you remove anything or add anything to your original idea? Then finally, you're going to decide which points you're going to include. The next stage is review your research in detail. Now, I wanted to show you an example of a level 3 research research helper. This has been done by Rebecca in level 3, and she's done an absolutely excellent job. So I just want to show the level that I'm expecting, not only of level 3, but I'd expect you guys to be working at a level 3 level as well. So this is the kind of quality that you're going to be doing, especially when you get to university. So it's really good to start doing this kind of thing immediately. So you can see that she's got the website, the article name, date reviewed, and she's divided into the questions. And then over here, she's made her notes. See the quantity of this information. Now they're writing a 1200 word essay. The more research you do, the more information you have to make a really quality essay or article. So what Rebecca's going to do and what you're going to do now is decide what information is relevant. She might decide that she really likes this, thinks that's definitely going to help, and she thinks this is really going to help. Okay, so she'll highlight those areas. The next thing she'll do is say that she wants to talk about this one first and this one second. So you're going to put them in order. So highlight what you're going to use, cross out the things that you think are not useful, and then put in order of how you're going to talk about them. So let's just go back to the PowerPoint. So highlight the points you feel are strongest to support your essay. So the points in the research that support the ideas you had in your original planning your plan. Cross out the points that you feel are irrelevant to your essay. Research that you don't think supports your purpose, or you just might have gone off the topic. And then number the highlighted points in your essay in accordance with the planning your plan. So as I said before, maybe we'll talk about this first, then we'll talk about that third, fourth, and so on and so forth. This is a really easy way to prepare to put your plan together because you're already getting the information ready to go. One thing though, I do think that this might have been, some of this has been copied. When you're doing your research, your notes need to be in your own words. You need to paraphrase as soon as you put your notes in so that you do not plagiarize. Unless it's a quote, if it is a quote, make sure you've got quotation marks in your notes so you remember that that is someone else speaking, and make sure you put down the name and the date of that in your notes as well. But generally, your notes need to be a paraphrase of the information you've seen. So, to create your very first plan, you've got your planning your plan document, so your original, and again, this may have changed as we saw earlier. It might have changed depending on what your research has done. Then we're going to have our planning your plan and your research with you when you complete your first draft. And we've got an example of the template that I'm going to give you or have given you. So you need to decide how you're going to organise your argument. So now that things might have changed, you might decide that you want to talk about the first thing third and the third thing first and so forth. You need to consider, is it in a logical order and does it make sense? We're going to look at essay order, just a simple essay order in terms of an argumentative essay in a moment. Considering your research and planning your plan, decide on the purpose of each paragraph. And you're going to have 3 or 4 paragraphs in an essay this size. So you can see here I've put body 1 and then put purpose. So the first thing you do, don't stress about writing all of this. The first thing you do is go, body 1, I would like to talk about the context and history. So I'm going to put here, purpose, context / history. In the next paragraph, I'm going to talk about 5 women and men have equal amount to offer. So in purpose, I'll write gender equals irrelevant. So I know that I'm going to talk about why it's irrelevant that gender be considered when it comes to whether a female or male is better at a thing or not. Okay. Then have a look at just what you've done. So body 1, body 2, body 3, and body 4. If you've looked at the purpose, 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 does the sequence make sense or could it be better? So in this time, we're just thinking about what would be the best logical order. If you're doing something that's historical, you might do it in a chronological order. So when the child is born to when they become a teenager, an adult, and then die. So that would be a logical sequence. If you're doing an argumentative essay, we'd start with history definitions, move on to the opposing view, and then move on to your view. If we're doing compare and contrast, you would again probably define and give some context in paragraph 1. Paragraph 2 we would compare, and paragraph 3 we would contrast. So depending on the type of essay that you're doing, you need to structure it in the right way. And as I said, doing this first really simple way, we can have an umbrella look, so an overview look at how our essay is going to develop. I just wanted to quickly digress. I don't want you to worry about introductions and conclusions just yet. We're going to have separate classes on introduction and a separate class on conclusion to really develop your skills about that. I just want to focus on getting the plan correct first. We'll then work on the body, and then we'll finish with writing excellent introductions and excellent conclusions. As I've said to you before, essay writing is probably the most important skill that you will take away with you to university. You're going to need it in your business exam. You're going to need it if you're doing human resources, anything with the humanities, if you're going into law, if you're going into medicine. You literally will need to write an essay in every aspect. And that includes if you're going to go to Japan or Thailand or any other country, whether it's in English or not, essay writing is one of the most important skills that you can have. Because of this, we're going to go through it slowly, step by step, and I want to make sure that by the end of semester 2, level 2, that you are all experts. So let's have a look at how you might organise an essay. As I said, don't worry about the introduction yet, but I want you to just have it in your mind what that would include. So an introduction generally will have a hook. A hook is something to get the audience interested in reading this essay. Why do I want to read this essay? Why is it relevant to me? Next, we move forward with the thesis statement, which I know that we've done a lot of work on, so you should be pros at that now. And then there's a suggestion of what the essay is about. Again, don't worry about it now. I just want you to be aware that we will be working on that later. Then I'll have a look at my paragraph 1. I would generally start with a background or a brief history of the topic, and then any things that need to be defined. For instance, many of you are writing about hypoxia. It would here be that I would actually explain the Oxford Dictionary or a scientific dictionary of what hypoxia actually is. I'd also talk about when it was discovered and how it's developed now. So just a bit of a background and some context to what we're going to be talking about. Paragraph 2 is going to look at opposing views to yours. If you're looking at juvenile delinquency, for instance, and whether young people should be punished the same as adults if they commit a crime, and you disagree with that, this is where you would put that point of view. So the purpose would be to show the opposing point of view of my essay or argument. Then you need to go through and gather evidence. And the evidence is not your opinion, not what you've heard, not what you've seen on the news, not even what your teacher or parents think. It must be from an academic source. Remember, this is a research essay, not an opinion piece. Next we'll do paragraph 3, your view, counter the opposing view, so you argue the points you've made in the earlier essay and then provided strong evidence to prove that your perspective is correct. I just want to point out that although I'm saying your perspective, this is still an academic essay, which means we never use I, we, I think. Cannot be in first person, it must be in third person. Here's a level 3 plan example. So I wanted to show you an example. This is actually from Mary over in 12A, and she's created a fantastic plan, and I just wanted to give you an example. So before I go through the details, I just wanted to show you again what someone that is going to get an excellent mark will create. And if you wish to get excellent marks right now and start working at a level 3 level, this is the kind of thing that I would expect. And see that she's written the actual question and then put it in her own words. And then she's put, oh, sorry, this is the wrong one. Hang on. Here we go. So here she's put the question in her own words. She's put it into 3 different points, and that's just able to keep her focus. She's popped in her thesis statement right here. Thesis statement can be between 1 and 3 sentences, so this is absolutely fine. And again, this is your plan, it is not your essay. So you can see here that she hasn't completed a full content. That's because it's a plan and it's just getting your ideas in the right and logical order. You start writing your essay without a plan, it's going to be disorganized and it's not going to be easy to read for the audience either. So planning is probably the most important aspect of the entire process of essay writing. So here I've taken, she doesn't do the purpose in body 1 because she is at level 3, but level 2 I do get you to do that first step just to start developing the technique. So I do want you to complete that purpose. Next, she's got the topic sentence. So what are social media and how is it developed? So her first section is going to talk about the history and how it's developed. And she's got in a sentence which really gives a bit of focus there. Then she's got some supporting detail, which have come directly from her research material. You have a look down here, body 2, again, she's given at least 3 supporting details. And body 3 again, and finally she's put some notes down about how she's going to structure her conclusion as well. Okay, so as I said, this is a really good example of an excellent plan, and it will lead to an excellent essay. One of Mary's first draft was one of the best ones that I have seen, and it's definitely due to the fact that she's actually created an excellent plan just like this. Right, let's just go back to the PowerPoint slide. So what you need to do is restate the question in your own words to keep your focus. Often when we're writing an essay, we get a bit distracted and we aren't focusing on the topic. You need to make sure that every paragraph and every point you'll make refers or relates back to the topic. Write a thesis statement to give you direction. So your thesis statement will get your mind thinking, okay, where are we going with this essay? So make sure that you know where you're going. Decide what body 1 will be about. Write the topic sentence and make your point, and then use your research planner to find evidence to support your points. Okay, so we've got topic sentence, got just an idea of what it's about, and here we've got supporting detail, supporting detail. Then you need to do the same for body 2 and body 3. It's a slow process, but it will mean that when you write your essay, that process is going to be really quick and really easy for you. Don't worry about the introduction and conclusion yet. Thesis statement. I know it's been a long time. We did this last semester. So you've already started preparing for it, because when you did your planning your plan, you've prepared by giving the history, definition, and projection. And these are the 3 elements that come into your thesis statement. So as I said, it should only be 1 to 3 sentences long, and review the thesis statement from last semester. If you've decided to keep the same essay, you already have your thesis statement. If you do not have a copy of it, hopefully I have it saved. So send a WeChat to me and I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. Have a look if you're happy with it. If so, proceed. If you're not happy with it, rework it and send it to me so that I can confirm that it's okay. So what I need you to do today is review your planning your plan. Highlight the information from your research helper that you'll use. Number the information from your research helper in order that you'll use those points. With planning your plan and research helper, so hold those 2 things with you, write your first draft of the essay body. Include the question in your own words and include the thesis statement. As I said, don't worry about the intro and conclusion just yet. So these are the items that I need you to complete over the following class. Now, when is it due? Your first draft of the plan is due on the 11th of May. So the first draft of the plan is due on the 11th of May. It cannot be given any later. We have a schedule that we need to meet, and this gives you more than enough time to work on that first draft. The reason I want you to do a first draft is I'd like to give you feedback on the plan so you can work on a final draft. And that means that you'll develop a further understanding of how to create an excellent plan and thereby develop the skill of writing an excellent essay. Please WeChat me if you need any clarification, if any of this is confusing. I'm also happy to send you this PPT if you'd like to review it. Please WeChat me if you want to check your first paragraph of the plan. So if you want to just write the first part, so body 1, and just write that and send that to me just to double check you've got it correct. The reason I say that is if you spend time doing your whole plan and the whole thing's wrong, you've wasted such a lot of time. So if you're a good and clever student and don't like wasting time, I'd complete body 1 and just quickly WeChat that through to me. I can say, yep, keep going, or no, you need to do this and this and this, okay? Because I'm away, I know it's difficult for you to ask me questions, but I'm so dedicated in hoping that you guys have excellent essay writing skills by the end of GAC. So please help me help you. So level 2, my expectations are it needs to be well thought out. You've thought about this essay. You've thought about how you're going to structure it. You've thought about making it into a logical order. You've thought about what kind of evidence can really support this. And that everything, all the supporting detail, is research-based. It is not opinion-based. So that's all I've got for today. Again, please WeChat me if there's anything that I can help with or anything that I can clarify. Thank you very much for your hard work, and I will see you in the next class.